Hey everybody, welcome to the workshop. My name is Chris. Thank you for joining me on this episode of A Glimpse Inside. This is going to be a little different episode here. I'm going to share with you 5 various tips and tricks I've learned around the workshop. Some of them you might know, but some of them you might not, and that's the beauty of it. Let me know down below which ones you did and did not know, and if you knew all 5, hey, more power to you. All right, let's get this video going. Let's go. Okay, so one of my favorite tips is this. You've got a piece something like this. So you've got, I'm gonna show you here, this is a Roman OG router bit that has done this work to this piece here. And you gotta clean it up. You can see it needs some sanding. Now this is kind of a pain because you've got all these little grooves and concave and convex shapes to get through, and you don't want to necessarily spend your time with your fingers getting in there. It could be a pain. Now, there are these things that, actually that Rockler makes, that allow you to sand various profiles. You basically cut a sanding strip and you wrap it around like this, but you don't always have these ready. So I'm gonna show you a method to sand this thing smooth to where, I don't know why it's so funny, but it is. Maybe it's not, I don't know. But either way, it works well. The first time I did this was years ago, and I thought that was clever. That actually worked out pretty well. So I'm gonna show you how to make your own profile with sandpaper with this. Yeah. Paper towels, shop towels, whatever. Here's how we do it. So let this be known that this result works best with 220 grit or higher, meaning you don't want to put 60 grit with a backing like this to really sand down a profile like this. You're just kind of burn through the profile. You don't want to do that. But you see here, the paper towel works as kind of a poor man's sponge. Not that sponges are that expensive, but what I'm saying is these are pretty much readily available in everyone's shop. But if you want to sand down these profiles, put the sandpaper around a paper towel and you're going to be able to do this pretty easily. I'm just taking some mineral spirits here and kind of showing you the work, give you a little bit more of a beauty shot to kind of show you nice and smooth, no rough edges. And that was all done with sandpaper and a shop towel. This is a pretty cool tip. All right, the next tip in the workshop I'm going to share with you came from this project right here. I'm going to show you a clip of this being built, and yeah, I needed some dowel stock. Where was I going to find it? I didn't have any in the shop. Do I go to the lathe and make some? No, you could, but I wasn't going to do that. Where'd I look to? I looked right there. You see those? Those are foam brushes, and guess what they have as a handle? A perfectly round dowel. It's not the longest on the planet, but it worked for this purpose. And quite frankly, I was glad I had these sitting around the shop. Most people do. And if you have a project like this that you might need some of this stuff, look no further than the ubiquitous foam brushes. All right, moving on to the next one. The next tip is gonna be how to make a double-sided 2 different grit sanding block with ease and really quick. Check this out. Okay, so every once in a while you need a sanding block, and if you don't make them from time to time, the quickest way I find to do it is with CA glue, believe it or not. You typically would make these with spray adhesive or maybe some double-sided tape. This is a cool tip too. I'm using the back edge of the razor blade to kind of crease the paper. As you see, I've cut these pieces down to fit this random block. I'm gonna put some CA glue on here, activate it pretty simply, and now I've got a piece of sandpaper that's wrapped around only 2 sides of this block, which really allows me to get into the nooks and crannies of various projects. Now, that's 220 grit, and now I'm gonna put some, actually that was 120 grit, and now I'm gonna put some 220 grit on the other side. And there you go, just like that. You've got a sanding block that has a 90-degree where you can get into a really tight space, get it smoothed out, and you've got 2 different grits. I use 120 and 220, I believe. And this is really simple to make, super easy. And if you can keep these around for a while too. I mean, it's not necessarily a permanent structure, but it'll definitely help you out. That's a good one. All right, the next tip I wanna give you guys is anything that has these keyhole little adapters here where you can put screws in the wall and then mount it, push down, and you got a nice snug fit to mount anything like a battery charger, a power strip, even pictures on the wall. If you want to hang something that has 2 different access points, I'm going to show you on this battery charger. And there's 2 different ways that I do this. I mean, you can do it in a multitude of ways, but these are the ones that I think are the best, and I'll explain them right now. So check this out. Okay, the first of the two methods is the story stick method. I got a popsicle stick here. You can use a paint stick, whatever you want. I make 2 marks on the exact same spot, and now I've got my marks ready to go. The other is the blue tape trick. I simply put the blue tape down nice and even, and then I trace along with a pencil, and it gives me an exact profile of what the keyholes represent and the spacing between them. I then go up to a wall, any random wall, and I place the blue tape. Now, if you want to level it, which you probably do want to, it's best to use that story stick method. And you can actually put the level right up to it and transfer your marks over. Now, hindsight, I would have used an ice pick for this. I would have just gouged it through the tape, but I put a pencil through and I was able to actually see the marks, so then I transferred it over. I simply used the ice pick to kind of give me a little spot to get these screws going. And then when you put them in, of course, you got to do a little trial and error to get it to fit, but then there you go, you're good to go. All right, so the next tip is involving the table saw and the crosscut sled. You can also do this on a miter saw as well. And it's a process in which you need to just trim off, we're talking like a nothing, like a hummingbird's beak worth of wood from a piece to get it that exact fit. Yeah, hummingbird's beak. Let me show you. I honestly think a hummingbird's beak is actually too big in this instance. I mean, like we're talking like a fraction of a hair. All right, good enough. All right, to get started here, I've got 2 pieces of plywood. I'm gonna stack them on top of each other, rest them up against a stop block, and cut them to the exact same length. I then remove the stop block completely. I take the pieces and I'm making sure everything's flush. Yes, I should have stopped the blade at this point, forgive me. I do now though, because I need to actually push this material into the blade. I'll show you here. I'm gonna take one of these pieces, I'm gonna lower it just a little bit. One of these pieces is gonna rest against the crosscut sled, and then we're gonna press and spring and flex the blade in this direction. Keeping the piece of wood locked in place with my hand, as I pull it back, the blade goes back to neutral just barely, and we're able to just barely take a little bit off. And let me show you what it looks like. Now, of course, the harder you push on the blade, and I don't know why you want to, because you're really trying to sneak up on something, you can see the difference in these 2 pieces and what that did. Now, if you need to take off just a minute amount of wood, this is a pretty cool trick. Now, there's many ways to do this. You can use feeler gauges and stop blocks, but if you don't have that stuff handy, this trick works really well. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Now, if you knew one of these, 2 of these, even up to 4, you know what I mean? That's awesome. But if you didn't know that 5th one, give me a like. I never ask for likes, but hit that like button for me. I wanna see if this video, this little old video here, can get to say 1,000 likes. That would be awesome. And I do wanna thank my patrons as well. I don't really thank them often enough. And I got a really good group of people down there at Patreon. The link's down below. If you think that you want to support the people that are in this creative space, and maybe I'm one of them, the link is down below. And of course, no pressure. But I just figured I would thank them as well. I got some really awesome top supporters down there. And really, honestly, guys, y'all are a great group of people. And let's make it even bigger. Maybe you could be one of them. So check out the link down below. Thanks again. This video was one of those fun ones to make. I just wanted to share some knowledge with you guys. And I hope you're doing well. This crazy pandemic is still going on. And I hope everyone is safe and doing well. And yeah, all right, that's all I got. Thanks for joining me. See you on the next video. Until then, my name's Chris, and I'll see you later. So every workshop has its quirks and features in here. Quirks and features. Been watching way too much Doug. Wow. Now, some have been filmed quite a bit. If you've noticed them in this video, and you, what am I doing? Like, if you notice them in this video, and then this is an episode of A Glimpse Inside that is going to take you along a ride. Where are we riding to? Where are we going? 30 by 20. That's all I got. 5 various workshop tips and tricks. Tips and tricks. You want to learn some tips and tricks? Let me tell you.
Hello everybody, my name is Chris. In this video I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks that I've learned along the way that I've used in practice here in the workshop.
And they've been fun to use. No, that's not how you say it.